Hello everybody, Realm Builder Guy here, and welcome back to the channel. And a new Crusader Kings 3 video, and this one's just a little bit of fun, alright? I've seen a lot of people have done time lapses for PDX games and other stuff, and I thought, why not make one of my own, but let's do it a little bit different. So first of all, of course, this is on the 1.4.2, I think, version of Crusader Kings 3. And I am also using a mod. I am using the TIP Volume 2 mod, so that is the Total Improvement Project mod, which focuses a lot on historical accuracy. So that's a big part of this mod, and I thought, well, let's do that. Let's see what that mod does. Let's see about the historical accuracy and where this weirdness can go in a time lapse. I also want to talk about game rules. Of course, we're going to start in 867. I'll go to game rules here real quick. I have my base reel. So what we have here is Exclave Independence is limited. That's one. Regional heresies are strict. Culture conversion speed is significantly slow. Faith conversion speed is slower. Diplomatic range is restricted. De jure requirement is on. Everything else I think is okay. End date, I am going to add 1453 as the end date here, so it just absolutely ends. Scandinavian adventures, let's leave it on, let's do frequent, why not? We'll apply this. And then I'm going to click on observe, because of course we're going to be observing this. We're going to bump this puppy up to 5 speed. And basically what's going to happen, I'm going to unpause it right here while we get going. I am going to not show the entire, time lapse, the entirety of it. Instead, what I'm going to do, or not just let it run, there will be an entirety of it. I will stop at certain intervals and we're going to take a look and see what has taken place. So I'm going to stop at the year 900, at the year 1000, 1100, 1200, 1300, 1400, and then at the actual end date of the game in 1453, and then kind of summarize and see what craziness has happened here in the game. So let me know what you think about this. Could be a ton of fun. You can already see Lotharingia here, got unified with Italy right off the bat. The Byzantines are going after the Bulgarians. There's just a lot happening right away. So I'm curious to see what things look like in the year 900. So I will see you in the year 900. And we are back. It is January 10th, or 10th of January, 900 AD. And what has happened? Well, if we look over the landscape here, we can see that in Central Europe, most things, let's go to Europe first. Let's take a look here at Iberia. Asturias is right now in an internal war. So that's really interesting. So we've got King Ranimiro, who is Hispanic and Visigothic. Hispanic Rite Organized Christian Faith. Very interesting. Again, this is modded. Let's not forget that, using the TIP mod. Visigothic, very interesting. We've got the Umayyads here. And then Valencia, who's Castilian and Muslim. Very, very interesting. Then we have Pamplona popping up here as well. So the Umayyads have fallen a little bit apart, but overall it's still pretty much similar to the start of the game. Let's look over here. What do we have down here in the corner? We have Iniga, so Catholic Basque, a small little camp. She doesn't look very good. She's not looking good. Typhus, yeah, that's rough. West Francia is still intact. Charles the Bald at top leading that. Brittany is under the leadership of King Salun. So Breton Catholic. Then we've got Neustria, Nordic Organized Christian Faith, and Norse. Jarl Udder, the Deep-Minded. Oh, she came down here. Interesting. Because, of course, you've got also Vestland here. Iceland still looking pretty much like it was. West Francia, though, in one. Friuli. That's interesting. Duke Berengar has got northern Italy and this little slice here on the French coast. Lotharingia, again, that this unification between Lotharingia, Lothringen, and Italy happened really early on, and it's still there. The papacy still sitting right down here. Tuscany has gotten its own little land. Benevento is right here. Then we have a giant, right? Yes, a giant leading, what is it? The Savdanid Emirate. Interesting. East Francia still in control of Carling here. King Arnulf. Bohemia here. Then Greater Moravia getting stronger. Greater Poland is still hitting here. The Arpads still in control of Hungary. Bulgaria still a thing. Tengri, Bulgarian. Interesting. The Byzantines, Greek Orthodox. It is Vasilev's Michael IV in charge here. We've got our Croatia, Slavonia, Rashka here as well. Let's go out. Khazaria is still a thing. The Khazars, they're dealing with a few wars. They're defending against Pecheneg's War of High Chieftain Yanshepi's claim on the Khaganate of Khazaria. So, interesting. Defenders, the attackers are the Pechenegs. Interesting. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, Khazar. Novgorod is strong here under the Rurikids. Tsar Sveinalder in control here. The rest of Scandinavia is looking pretty, splintered. Denmark, King Hardeknuter is in charge here. Then the rest of this Svealand, that is Bjorn II Eriksson. He is the grandson of Bjorn Ironside. So the House Munso still in control here. The Vikings are in charge here. Is there anybody else that we kind of know? I'm not really seeing anybody here. All right. So now let's head on over to Africa real quick. What's to note here? Well, Ghana, powerful as always. Oh, he's a big lad. The House Sise, pretty strong there. The rest of Africa still very splintered down here. Kanem, gotta keep an eye on them and see how they do with time. Then over here, very splintered. We've got the Abyssinians sitting here. Gojiam, Bakleen, Alodia, Nubian Coptic. Then we've got the Tulanid Sultanate, Egyptian, Markuria sitting right here. Then we have the Abbasids are still in control, but they are in a lot of wars, including defending against the Byzantines. The Tahirids, strong here. The Safarids still in control here. Then the Ugus Khanate is growing a little bit here. The Kyrgyz Khanate is a little bit under pressure, it looks like, from exterior. Mongolia has formed, so the Mongolian Khanate is a thing. Gobi Altai right here. Archang Kyrgyz is still broken up. Salenga Valley sitting right there, but Mongolia is on the board. Kocho is still here. Jetisu is still right here under the Karakhanids. The Samanids are growing here in these central plains. Or central mountains. Gugue, strong presence here. In general, it's still very, very broken up. Pala, very strong here. Pagan, coming on strong over here in Burma, but Pala is starting to control this part of South Asia. Rata, very strong. Chola, where's powerful Chola? Chola is just relegated to this little thing right here. And then you've got Lambakana Kingdom from Sri Lanka and the southern tip in control here. And then the valley in here, we've got the Habari clan ruling this one, the kingdom tier realm. All right. So very, very, very interesting. Let me hit on pause here. So we will see where things go. Oh, Minsk. I forgot to look at Minsk here. Russian as well. This is all very interesting. I've never really done many time lapses, so this is something I'm actually enjoying doing, kind of commentating and seeing what the AI and what the game does, especially using the TIP mod. So I will see you guys when we reach the year 1000. We're back, and it is the year 1000. It's the 11th of January. I wasn't quite fast enough to hit the pause button. That's the 10th of January again, but hey, 100 years and a day later, we come to the world of Crusader Kings 3 and see at a quick glance, a lot has happened in these 100 years. We're going to start, of course, over here in Europe. Well, first of all, we can see Iceland looks pretty much unified. You have Iceland up here. Under King Ulfr, 9-year-old, and then Österland is still a thing, but it's pretty tiny. Anyway, we are going to go down here and start in Iberia, and as we can see, let's see here, Andalusian, Sufri, Galician, very interesting. We have Beja, Galician, Pamplona, and here's Asturias, right here. There's still your little Hispanic, Austro-Leonese culture nation right there, but it's very much Muslim, Islamic dominated. I mean, even here, Urgell is here, but they are Muwaladi Catalan. Auvergne has come in here. Auvergne is Occitan and Catholic, or Occitan. So you've got a little bit here and a little bit there, but really the rest is, unless I'm missing something here, it is all Islamic. But more than here, if we go up here, we see there are Umayyads in France. Right now, they are dealing with a bunch of wars. But West Francia has completely disintegrated, and the Umayyads have somehow come to power. Look at the size of this family. That's pretty insane. The Umayyads have taken over here. Aquitaine is still here in the south. Who are the Umayyads at war? They are at war with Champagne for independence. They are at war with a French Catholic uprising and losing a major war here against Clovis Phil Arengard of West Francia in the war of Prince Caribert's claim on the Sultanate of West Francia. So you can see here they've got 4,800. Yeah, so it looks like an internal rebellion to repel the Umayyads from France. Very interesting. Provence, sitting strong down here. The Byzantines, well, they're even in France right now. We have Dauphiné. Lotharingia is still a thing, but it's gotten much smaller, and it is now Catholic and French. We have Briey here, Nancy sitting right here. East Francia is probably the most stable one. Now this Lotharingia is Reginar, so King Milo here. We have Karlings here and here. So the Karlings have been pretty much reduced back to East Francia and Bavaria. Then we have Utrecht here, which is Norse. We have Holland here, which is Franconian and Catholic. Franconian and Catholic. Very interesting. Then we have a little thing here of Gwyn. All right, let's head over to the British Isles. So Anglo-Saxon and Nordic Christian realm here. Cornwall is insular and Welsh. Mercia still a thing with King Ethelwulf II head there. Then we have Deira, Catholic Anglo-Saxon. Bernicia, Catholic Anglo-Saxon. I'm trying to see if we have any Norse really left. I mean, these are Nordic Rite Catholic Christians, but they are Anglo-Saxon. Gwynedd is Welsh. Alba is insular and Gaelic. Then we have Brittany up here. So Brittany is Norse. It's from the House of Fitzek. So they are at least unreformed Germanic faith, but they are Breton. We have Leicester, Irish, Ulster. So they are Irish, but of a Norse pagan religion. Mercia here, Alba sitting there. East Anglia. Interesting that they are across here. Who do you belong to? You belong to Iceland. Okay, so a lot. I mean, that's quite the picture here. Now let's head over to Scandinavia. And Denmark is still around, still held by the same family, but they're dealing with a ton of wars here. Subjugation War, Kingdom of Denmark's claim, Then we've got Falki of House Munso, who is controlling Gardariki. So he's the king of Gardariki, which also goes over here into Russia. Viking is still a thing right here. Upland here, so House Munso does own still a little bit up here. Smoland. Then we've got Karelia in strong here. Bjarmaland. So we have a Baltic Finno-Ugric faith and nation here. A queen ruling the kingdom there. Then what else do we have? We have White Rus. So these are Russian, Ute. And I'm trying to see if we have any Rurikids left. I'm not seeing it at all anywhere. So it looks like the Rurikids are gone completely. But Hungary is huge now. They are now Russian under the House of Wolinski. So no longer the Arpads in power there. Greater Poland under the Masurians. Moravia is still here. Bavaria is still going strong. Lower Silesia is Polish and Slovianskan. Denmark has a few incursions here. We have got Masuria, Prussia along the coast here. Kurland is on the board here, and Livonia is as well. If we go down here into Italy, Italy is completely splintered. So we have Lombardy up here, Waldensian Christian faith, and Cisalpine. We've got Tuscany here, Ancona. Spoleto is still here. The Byzantines are in the land. The papacy still has what it has. See, Venice is still a republic, of course. Genoa is here. What else we got going on? Croatia, Upper Bosnia, but Croatia is back. And then, of course, we have the big power here in the Byzantines, very stable. I mean, they control a lot of the Balkans, Anatolia, Greece, Macedonia, and the Black Sea coast in many ways. Moldavia is right here. Oh, that's a pretty cool looking house right there. Transylvanian Alps. So that's kind of part of it here. Khazaria is still a thing. So they are Khabarite Jewish faith and Chuvash culture. So they are Turkic. And that leads us up here. So Alania, they are Khazars. And man, there is a ton going here. Kazan is on the board now. They are Finno-Ugric and Bari. Then we have Bashkiria, a Tengri faith and Turkic group. The Ugus Khanate has really completely fallen apart here. As we head down and we'll head towards Africa, we'll go over to Asia here last. Baghdad, that's a thing now. We have the Emirate of Baghdad is an Abbasid. And then, of course, we have the Abbasids still. The Caliphate, the empire, still exists. But most of Persia here is completely disintegrated. Azerbaijan is here. We have Khorasan. The Bamids, the Saffarids are here. The Habari are still here. The Tahirids, the Samanids. So all is up for grabs here. Now let's head over to Africa. We have Outer Ajuran. Very interesting. I haven't seen this one for them yet. That's interesting. They got some holdings up here, but most of it down here. Muduk, Mogadishu exists. Very cool. Then we have the Dalkas. Yemenis are here. Baklin, Coptic, Nubian. Gojam is still sitting where they are in the central parts of Ethiopia. Sharka as well, Ethiopian. Then we have Alodia here, Alwa, Ethiopian, Coptic, Naga as well. In the north here, Al-Wahat, Egyptian Coptic culture group, and Ashari faith. Very interesting. Then we head over here, Nubian. We still have Daju and their Bori. In Darfur, we have the Kushites. Yay, Kushites still exist. So now we head over to the rest of Africa. Big power here, Banu Khatab. So they are Ibadi, Muslim, and Butur. Anybody big up here? We've got Majorca. Oh my gosh, I completely jumped over this. We have Hispanic, Christian faith Visigoths in North Africa. I'm sorry, that's kind of cool. We've got Maghrebis, Sicilians, Tunis. Tunisia is is a principality, is Catholic and Lombardy. Then we've got Visigothic Hispanics here, Catholic Lombards. So really, we've got kind of like this little Christian North African enclave. We've got Orthodox Sardinians here. Then we're going definitely into Maghrebis, Galicians, Hafez. So interesting what happens. Pamplona is now also in North Africa. Sousse. But this little Christian enclave here in North Africa, didn't see that one coming. Mazab, very powerful. Then we have the Kingdom of Kong under Cisse, split all throughout this part of Africa. Ghana is still on the board. They have come and gone under different names, but the Cisse house controls all of this. It was one major empire and has since split. What else do we have in here? Then we've got Worodugus sitting here. Kong and Ghana, they are still Mande faith. Kabu is Senegambian faith. Borgu is here. Yoruba land, very cool. Yoruban faith and part of the Yoruba culture group. Then we have Sao sitting here in Kanem. Now let's head on over here to Asia. And first we're going to go to the north here. Of course, we mentioned Bashkiria. Then we have Ob. Mongolia, Ob, what are they? Ostiak there, Ugro-Permian. Mongolia still going strong here. The Kyrgyz Khanate is back, but much, much smaller. Kocho is still here as Uyghurs. Then Zetisu is smaller, but they're still there. Then we have Xia, the kingdom tier. They are dualist faith and Turkish. Very interesting. Then we've got the Duchy of Erzu, Zadui, Tibetan. Nagoy Guge is still here on the board as well. They are also Tibetan. So the Tibetans are dueling it out. And let's take a look down here at South Asia. Pala, Bengalis are still strong, but they're a little split up here, dealing with Bihar. So the House of Pala has split. I'm assuming just through family ties. Pagan is much smaller now. Much smaller there. Andhra's down here. Rata is still a thing, but splintered up. Chola, still hanging on. Chola is still hanging on way down here. And then we have the Talakad Ganga house, the Talakad Ganga kingdom. What do we have here? Rajputana. That kingdom is still sitting very strong here. Very, very interesting things have been happening. Let's hit unpause and see where we go next. And I will see you guys in the year 1100 will be the next one. So I will see you then. This is just insanity. Let's see what the Umayyads do in France. And we're back. And it is, I'm going to say it's Friday the 13th. January 1100 AD. And, well, the first thing you'll notice is the Byzantines are still here. I mean, they're dealing with some kind of internal war. Liberty War for Komnenos, I assume. House Komnenos. The attacker here. No, Kurkas. Okay, interesting. Anyway, so they're still here. You see a few on the board. The Abbasids are right here. Abaris are still here. Mongols aren't called the Mongols anymore, not Mongolia anymore, and that's really sad. Zetisu is still here. Permia there. Kumania is here. They were bigger, now they're smaller again. Kyrgyz Khanate is kind of sitting up yonder. Khazaria is still here. But anyway, I get ahead of myself. Let's scroll into the map and take a closer look at what's going on. Iceland has been completely unified under one rulership. It is Hrafna Floki. Law Speaker Ormur is the head of Iceland, and I'm focusing on Iceland because why not? Okay, let's head down here to, of course, Iberia. What do we have going on? Galicia. A Mualadi Andalusian Galicia. Then Andalusia itself is under the Umayyad rulership, the Sultanate there. Then we have Salamids, Pamplona, Andalusian, Basque, Zaragoza. Trying to see if there are any at all Christian realms left here. It's not looking like it. It's looking like it is completely in the hands of Islam. Very interesting. They've even made some further inroads across the Alps here. And in fact, we have the Nayids, in control in parts of France that I assume this was part of the Umayyads when they fell apart. Aquitaine is looking like the strongest power in all of France. Essex has a little tip here. Brittany still exists, but not much. Nordic French. Neustria is still a thing. It's the same house here, Nordic and French. Macon is Mualadi and French from House Artois. So we've got Islam expanding throughout France. We have Mualadi Andalusians in Poitiers, in Blois, in Orléans. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Oh, wow. Burgundy, that's still Catholic. Auvergne is Catholic. Then we have Adamite Occitans. Here we have organized Christian faith in Béziers. And then Uzes as well. Let's look at Provence. Catholic and Swabian. All right, so it looks like we have Mualadis over here in the Champagne. So the Islamic faith has spread pretty far in France. So the Umayyads have had their impact on French culture. Flanders is independent. Carling, one of the few Carlings left. Brabant is Regnar. Upper Lorraine. And then we have Alsace is the House of Österreich, Catholic and Swabian. West Franconia, they are still Carlings. East Francia is in the House of Sachsen. They are Catholic and Saxon. And we have Utrecht, which is Polabian, Slavic group, and unreformed Germanic faith of Asatru. Then we have Nordic and Dutch and a dwarf in Frisia. Holland itself is Catholic and Gaelic. Gallere is Catholic and Italian. The stories this game makes is really interesting. All right, let's head over to the British Isles. The first thing you notice, Ireland is here. High King Murchad, insular Irish of House Ivering. So this is Ivar the Boneless's house, and he is the Irish Christian king. And he also has some holdings over here in England and Scotland. So we've got strong Welsh presence, Nordic Anglo-Saxon Wessex, Dara or Derby, House Derby, Insular and Anglo-Saxon. So we have Danish rulers here in Northumbria. Muireb is Insular and Gaelic. This is the same house that controls over here in Nuestra, just by the way. So this is a very well-represented house. Alban still exists, petty king there, and it's all the same house. Really interesting. All right, let's look at Scandinavia. Denmark, looking strong. They have some holdings here, a little bit here in Germany, but most of it's still here in this house, Accra, and they are now Nordic Catholic Christians, or Nordic Christians, and Norse, of course. Let's see, do we have Insular Norwegian? Here we have Nordic Christian. Uppland is still Asatru. Uppland, they are Christianized. Östergötland is Christianized. So Christianity has made inroads throughout Scandinavia, but you do have certain areas that are still of the old faith. Then we have Khazaria. Interesting, the Khazars are now here in Finland, essentially. Bjarmaland is still here. Novgorod is back, and they are Swedish and Asatru. Estonia is now its own kingdom. Smolensk, Swedish Smolensk, White Rus. They are Jewish, Khabarite, and Russian. Wow. And we have Galician here, Orthodox Russian. Masuria still here. They are Jewish. Really interesting. And then we've got Jewish here in Smogotia. Estonia is not. They still have the old faith. We have some Khazars sitting here in Turkey. Let's see. Poland is really nothing there. We've got Pavalind. They are Magyars. Moravia is still Slovian, so Slavic and Catholic. Thuringia is Czech and Catholic. Bavaria, there's a Carling right there. I didn't see. Okay, not a Carling here. Bavarian and Catholic. Lower Silesia, they are Polish and Nordic Christians. Pomerania is Pomeranian and Nordic Christians. So Christianity has definitely expanded throughout. Venice has expanded here. Tuscany. Italy is still a bit of a mess. We've got Mualadi Sardinians now. The papacy is control of central Italy. The Byzantines are still in power here. They've expanded their power base in southern Italy, as well as in the general Balkan region and all of the Black Sea. Then you've got some Orthodox rulers here. Oh, the Arpads are back in Oltenia. Very interesting. Balaton is not. Okay, so now let's head on over here to kind of this Central Asian part. We have Khazar, Jewish Khazars there, Jewish Khazars there. Anybody else? Bashkiria is Jewish and Oghuz Turk. Permia is still Tengri. Sibir. We're not going to get all the way up in here. Transaxonia has now gotten on the board, and obviously all of these realms right in here in Central Asia. Just seeing you got Persians here. Greek Orthodox sitting right there. The Abbasids are still around. Basra is its own. They're part of the Abbasids. We have Dulafid Persians here, but the Abbasids are still hanging on, as are the Habaris down in this region. So the Gurs are here. Very interesting. The Emirate, the Duchy of Gurs is there, and Punjab is now on the board. The Kingdom of Punjab. Now heading over to Africa. Let's take a look here at the Horn of Africa. We've got Somali Coptics and Muslims battling it out here. We've got Coptics here. We've got Coptics all the way. I mean, it's very... The Coptic Christian faith has really taken over this entire region. Very few that are not. We have Adamite Christians sitting here in Alwa. Kordofan is now Coptic as well. Darfur is Coptic. Salamat is Coptic. Everything is here pretty much Christianized. Try to see if there's anybody that's not. Al-Said, they are Coptic. So yeah, the Coptic Christian religion has really spread and started to dominate this entire region. Sao here, so they're Ashari. They are a Muslim here. So that's kind of where it ends, is right here with the Coptic Christianity. As we head up north here into North Africa, let's see what that old Christian enclave did here. If they're still around, we have Mazab here. Kairan, there you go. Catholic Lombardians in both Tunis and Kairan. They are now Mualadi, Visigoths, so that Hispanic Christian faith is gone out of North Africa. The Rustamids are in charge here. Maghrebis. Musab is here. Zamur in this region. Ghana is still an absolute dominant powerhouse here. And we have Jenne here. Jenne used to be the entire region, and that has changed. Kong has gotten very small now. Gur is next there. Gourma, but Ghana is the powerhouse in this region. Yorubaland has shrunk over time. Hausaland is here. Kanem is here. So it's really gotten decentralized again. If we head over to Asia, head over to the northern parts here. Kumania is on the board, and they are Tengri and Ostiak, so Ugro-Permian. They are coming on. Kipchak is hanging out here. The Kyrgyz Khanate is still hanging on up here. Buryatia is hanging up here. Arpardi, so the House of Arpardi, this was Mongolia, and it's changed its name, which is a real bummer. Zetsu is still right here. Zetisu, I don't know. Kocho is still hanging around. Ugyurs. And we have Bai. They are Mongolic. Oh, we have a Han. We have a Han realm. We have the Duchy of Haicheng. They are the House of Jinta. They are a dualist faith, and they are of Han Chinese culture group. Really, really cool, and he's a dwarf. So that's kind of awesome. Then we have Uyghurs here. They are Turkic. But I'm just happy to see a Han Chinese culture group pop up here. Bai is here. They are also Mongolic. Oh, there's a one-eyed 10-year-old. Kind of cool. Gugue is still going strong. The Tibetans are still battling each other here, and it's not really getting anywhere. Delhi has now formed the Kingdom of Himalaya. So they are Nepalese Hindu faith of the Pratihara house under Maharaja Kailaspala II. Pala is hanging out here. We've got the Tsang, the Bengali Tsang here. Pala, then we have Pagan. Gondwana is getting stronger. And then down here we still have Pallava. Chola looks like is gone. The Chola is no more. So finally, it took a long time, but I don't see them anywhere here. That Chola until 1100 are now off the board. So we will unpause and let the game continue running. Oh, what just happened up here? Let's take a look at that. Okay, the Populist Uprising. Are they actually called the Populist Uprising? They are called the Populist Uprising. That is an interesting realm. So we will continue, and I will see you guys in the year 1200. Okay, it is 1280, 11th of January. I'm really close always to getting the same date every time I hit pause on this speed demon on 5 speed that is CK3. Well, as you can see right away, yeah, the Byzantines, they're doing quite well. They're doing okay. They're doing better than they do in EU4. Let's just put it that way. Well, without much further ado, we will do as we always do and start off in Iceland, because I've decided to do that. And yes, Iceland's still there. The House Munso is now at the head, is Queen Saga Philipsdottir. That is just awesome. They are still their Germanic faith, and they are Swedish. Perfect, perfect. We're just going to go past that and head right down to Iberia. And Andalusia is here. The kingdom, the Sultanate of Andalusia, still under the rule of the Umayyads. Sultan Balashk, the second Ibn Balashk. Just fantastic. We've got the Hasmids sitting over here. Then we've got Lispo here. Then we've got the Galician, Sancho Velez of Aslamit. Galicians here, Tui here, Pravia, Leon, Lisbo here, Oxo. The Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Empire? Oh, and the Swabian Catholics are also out here. But anyway, the Byzantine Empire is in Spain. Huh, interesting. Anyway, Aquitaine, still going on with an irrational blackguard of that Umayyad house, who is Patriarch Sentol Anasic of Aquitaine, who is Umayyad. Okay, that is interesting. That is not expected. So we've got Lisboa here, we've got Andalusia sitting here, then we've got the Auvergne here, who is Catholic, East Francia, we have Orthodox Saxon from the House Saxon, Lotharingia is now ruling most of France, and they are, of course, Muwaladi French from Artois-Chigny, King Maurice III in the Kingdom of Lotharingia. Wessex is still hanging on right over here. Then we've got House Blois. Then another one here in Maine. The Champagne and Flanders is still, it's Orthodox Dutch under a Carling queen. Okay, and then what do we have over here? Bonifazi in Antwerp. They are Nordic, Gaelic. Utrecht, still hanging on to their Germanic faith. Frisia is insular and Frisian. Yeah, so the faith, the Islamic faith is just dominant all throughout here, with a few little islands that are kind of pushing back. You've got the East Francians, Aquitaine, the Byzantines, and the Provence, and the Auvergne down here, but we'll see how that continues. All right, let's head over to the British Isles, and of course, Ireland is expanding further and further, stepping through England and Scotland. We have Moireb up in the north, Gaelic, Catholic. Alban is still hanging on. Loidan, then we've got this realm that I'm not going to try to pronounce here. Dara still hanging on. Then we've got some Irish, House Ivering in Lancaster. Gwynedd still going strong here. All throughout here. We have Swedes down here in Morganwig. Yeah, whatever. Norfolk as well. But I mean, the interesting thing in this one is that really the Norse culture was pushed out pretty early. Speaking of Norse, well, let's head on over here. We still have the Norwegian insular Hvitserk clan in the Northern Isles, but Denmark, Nordic and Swedish from House Munso, and a giant ruling it, giant King Bertil. Next door, we have Sweden from House Accra, also Christian and Nordic. Swedish Skåne is also Christian. It looks like everybody. We have a Samis in Uppland. Then over here we have Sami. Sápmi is Sami as well, but they still cling on to their Finno-Ugric faith. Sweden's also over here. Then we have Bergslagen sitting over here. They are part of Denmark. So Denmark is really the powerhouse of Scandinavia, with a little bit of Sweden hanging on there. Estonia, in the meantime, they are Sami still. Novgorod, House Geo, Sami, and Jewish. That's not, I mean, this whole area is Jewish. Very, very interesting. The White Rus as well, Russian and Jewish. Poland, Polish and Nordic Christian. Moravia is Catholic. Bohemia is Catholic. Valencia is Christian, Nordic. Lausitz is Orthodox Swedish, as they would be. And Samagotia as well. Pomerania sitting here. They are Nordic Christians. Galicians here are also Jewish. Let's actually take a quick look at the faiths. So we've got Mualadism here. We've got Orthodoxy. We got Catholicism still here, but Orthodoxy is making a power play throughout Germany. Insular and Catholic are fighting it out here. We still have the Nordic Christian religion here. A little bit of Asatru here or there. A lot of Asatru here. This is the Ukonusko religion, so the Finno-Ugric religion. If we move out here, we've got Tengri, Matuidri, which is, of course, also Muslim faith. Manichaean over here. Ashari, Coptic. Look, the Coptic religion is really in the Adamites, so the Christians have pretty much completely taken over here. This is all, we've got Muwaladis now in Africa. Very interesting, but look at Muwaladi faith throughout France and Iberia. If we look at cultures, we've got Greek, we've got French, Occitan, Andalusian, Buter, Sonike, Numian and Somalian, Bedouins here, Tajiks throughout here, Persians strong here, Tamils, Mongols across here. Han is expanding. It just makes me happy. I just like seeing the Han. Russian, very strong here. So anyway, go back to the realms. And now, looking at the Byzantines, they just dominate everything in the area here. It looks like the Khazars are finally gone. I mean, the Khazars are there, but the big Khazari realm is no more. They're a little spread out. We've got a Russian Jewish realm here. Very interesting. Mughalid, they are Bashkir and Khabarite. Here's some Khazans, or Khazars. So they're still there, just not as strong. The Hashemids have now moved into this region. So if we move into the Middle Eastern region, into Arabia, the Muadamit Empire is here. It's taken over from the Abbasids. Next door, we've got the Baghdadis. But these are really, if you can see, there's a little bit of Abbasid still in there, but the Abbasids are no more. Persia, the entire Persian region has really broken down. We've got Tajiks, we've got Persians, we've got Bedouins in here. And as you saw before, when I looked on the culture one, there's a lot of Tajik culture in here. Oghuz Turks here. Transoxiana, Tajiks, very strong in here. Nothing truly stands out. The Oghuz Turks all across this region. If we look in here, Muscat, we've got Asharis, Sind, and then we're getting a little bit into the Hindu face, and we'll look at that into further Asia a little bit. But now we have to head over to Africa and see what's gone here. Ajuran, the Coptic Somali kingdom of Ajuran, is undergoing some kind of internal war that they are completely losing. So that's going to blow up here in a short time. Markuria is still hanging on. Al Said is here. What about here? They've got an internal war going on. So war for claim on the Arabian Empire. Darfur. But yeah, this is all still Christian. And then again, they've gotten a little bit further. Sao, though, is Muslim. Tibesti. Ghana is still the powerhouse. They are still clinging to their unreformed Mande faith, which is awesome to see. But now you can see Islam has made its way around here into West Central Africa, but also Mali is still part of the Mande faith. Gur and Gourma, they are Ibadi, so they are also Muslim. As is Yoruba land now, Hausa land, though they are still Hausan faith. Great to see. Sao is powerful in the region. Kanem is much, much smaller. Now let's head over to Asia. Let's go to South Asia first. Still no Chola. Chola is just no longer here. We can see Obayamit is the powerful faith here. They are a Jain faith and Arvidian group. Then who else is really big here? Now this whole area was Bengal, the Kingdom of Bengal, and then it disintegrated in about 1140, so I was really bummed about that. Pagan is still hanging on, believe it or not. They're right here, just still kind of hanging on. Kamarupa is pushing in south. Let's see, Pratihara is sitting right here. The Nepali, this guy looks kind of interesting. And I did not mute my phone. I apologize for that. I'll do that real quick. Now we head over into this region, what I'm really curious about. So the Tibetans are still very, and the Nepalis are still very spread out and not centralized. Oh, Shanju, we have a Han, Manichaean, or Manichaean, however you want to pronounce that. Probably completely butchering that, but we've got the House Sumpa is now part of the Han culture group. Love seeing that, by the way. The Bai, they are Mongols. Golok. I know I saw a few other Han. Jiangzhung, they are Tibetan. Here's some more Han right up here. Liangzhu. Zia is Kyrgyz. These guys are Uyghur, but you know, it's still, we've got some Han coming through here. Haicheng, they are Han, they are Kainite, so a dualist faith, organized, and Han as well. So Duke Ji is the head of that. See if we can find a Kocho, they're Uyghur. Mongolia is back, which makes me extremely happy to see them back on the board. And Khakassia, another major realm, and some more Kyrgyz here that are actually Kabarite Bashkir, so they are Jewish. And Kumania, still right here, they are also Manichaean faith, and Ostiak. So yeah, a lot going on. Then we've got this lone little Muslim country right in the middle there, or a few actually, but not too many. And Jetissu is tiny now. So the Karakalid are losing control in the area, at least as far as their ancient homeland is. So that is the end here of the year 1200. Let me unpause, and we will move forward. I'm curious to see, as we expand, what happens. Will the Byzantines just gobble everything up? What else happens? Will all of Western Europe become Muslim? Will Ireland control all of the British Isles? Will Denmark control all of Scandinavia? Will we ever see Germany or an HRE? What will Poland do? Who will be the power here? And then, of course, throughout Africa, Ghana, see what they do. Ajuran has survived their war, believe it or not. And then Mongolia. I want to see the Mongols invade here. That would be cool to see. So anyway, I will see you guys in the year 1300. Oh boy, it's here, the year 1300. We're starting to get towards the end of the timeline. We've got 153 years left. Between the year 1200 and the year 1300, a lot has happened. And obviously, you see the big light blue blob here in the middle, Borjigin, and we will talk about them in a second. But we're going to start, as always, over here in Iceland. So let's take a look. Iceland, are you still there? Yep, Iceland is still there. And a Hvitsek is now the ruler, the king of Iceland. That just sounds cool. All right, we'll go past this. And down here, we've got an Umayyad unification of Iberia. The Umayyads now have all of the control here. We've got Ali, Sultan Ali IV Ibn Ali, Andalusian, in the Ali Sultanate that also stretches into the Basque country of France. The Umayyads now have huge chunks of France, and this is crazy, the Umayyads are now extended into the British Isles, with chunks in England, Cornwall, and Wales, believe it or not. Then we have the Aslamids and Otsko here as well. The Byzantines are still kind of sitting around here, haven't really expanded beyond that. Now let's look into the insanity that is France. Burgundy has formed, but they are Mualadi, so they have joined the faith. Then we've got a few Orthodox sitting here, then some Mualadis there, some Mualadis there, Dutch Mualadis, as you would have Valois as well. But it's looking like pretty much all of France, with a few exceptions down here in Montpellier, is pretty much Islamic now. Frisia, well, they've got some lands in here. They are Dutch and Orthodox. Bern, believe it or not, are Franconian and Muslim faith. Utrecht is Mualadi as well. Bar, here, the Duchy of Bar, is also Mualadi. Very, very interesting. Well, I guess they would be. They are part of Burgundy. But that is a little insane. And look at this. Ali, the Sultanate, the Kingdom of Ali, is now in northern Italy, believe it or not. Bavarians have a little bit of land here. Friuli is sitting here. Then we've got the Bavarians, the Orthodox Bavarians, who are still Carlings. The papacy is hanging on here. Magyar, Pope, interesting. Ancona is Greek and Orthodox, and the Byzantines are dominating everything in this region. That's really, really interesting, but I get ahead of myself. Venice is still here. Then we've got the Rashids sitting here in Corsica and Sardinia. Now, if we head over to the British Isles, Ireland is the dominant power, it looks like. We've got Wessex, Dira is still here, and the Welsh. So those are the power blocks. Looking if there's anything out of the ordinary aside from the Umayyads now having a foothold here. But no, it looks like it's Wales, Deira, Wessex, and especially Ireland in control of the region. So let's head over here to Scandinavia. Norway has formed as Swedes, so Swedish and Christian. Some lands here and there. We've got Norland. Let's see, do we have anybody who's still part of the old faith? It's not looking like it. Denmark is still the power in Scandinavia. Sweden is sitting there. But overall, it's looking like, oh, there we've got a little, some still of the old faith. Bjarmia is no longer that. Bjarmaland, they are Jewish. Courland, they are Christian now. Masuria has expanded. They are Swedish and Christian. Pomerania. Then we've got Petty King of Lapland. Wow, Lapland is extended here. It's just insane. So looking in here, we've got the Kingdom of Frisia just kind of dotted all over the place. Lusitania is still here, Orthodox. Bohemian is Catholic. East Francia, they are ruled by a Carling, an Orthodox Dutch Carling, who's sitting here in the middle. We've got the Count of Hildesheim, they are Adamite. And if we move further over here to Eastern Europe, Greater Moravia is still a thing, Orthodox, Slovene. Then we've got Orthodox Bavarians down here. Bihar are Greek. Muntenia is Vlach. Hyalek, we've got Slovenia. White Russia is still a kingdom here, a Jewish kingdom that's kind of splintered a little bit. Ryazan, Jewish, Polish. We've got Tengris sitting here outside of Ryazan. And the reason why we've got Tengri Khazars here is because of the big blob over here that I'll get to in a second. But first we're going to take a look at the big purple blob, and that is the Byzantine Empire. Well, they've now encompassed the entirety of the Black Sea, most of the Balkans, heading out to the Caspian Sea as well, and starting to dominate right in this region of the Mediterranean. Heading further south, we've got the Akabids now in control, the Akabid Empire. Baghdadis are still hanging on there. Smarland, I mean, Persia is completely splintered. There's no unity here. We even have Rajputana, who are Tibetans. Hindu Tibetans are controlling this area now. That's really, really cool to see. In this region, we've got Shaibanit now. So we have a Islamic country here in an area that's been, well, Coptic and Christian dominated now for the majority that we've seen. Haftasids here are Greek Mualadis. See, Sao, they are Ashari. If we go here into North Africa, we've got mainly Islamic faith. The Umayyads have taken over here. Tahert, how are we looking here? The Venetians are sitting in North Africa. Do we have any of the old... No, the old Christian realms of Lombardy are no longer a thing in North Africa. The Venetians here and the Byzantines, but other than that, it is Islamic faith. Marrakesh sitting right there, and then we've got Timilan. Before we head down to the great kingdom of Mali, still of the Mande faith, is great to see. Kono is sitting on down here. Yorubaland has really expanded now. They are Ibadi Muslim faith. The Gur have expanded. Gurma is a thing here. Hausaland, they're still part of the Hausan faith, which is nice. Nupe and Kanem have expanded, but Sao is really the big power here in Tibesti, centrally. Now we're going to head down here. Before we go up there, we're going to go down here. And like I already said, a lot of splintering. Persia is not unified. South Asia, not at all. Punjabis here are Afghan. So the Grand Emirate, Afghan Emirate of Punjab. Danu is Persian, Sani Punjabi. And then we head down here, we've got the Tripurids. So these are Hindustani Hindus. Cool to see that they are in control here. And then things are really splintered all the way through South Asia. Pagan is still holding on. We still have Pagan, believe it or not. But they've got a big kingdom right around them here. Bengal has reformed all across here. They are Rajput and Sri Kula Hindu faith. Seti is sitting here, Hindustani and Hindu faith. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else. Got Bengalis in here. And Assamese culture sitting in here, and Buddhists. Then we have Kam. They are Sumpa, so they are Tibetan. Konyi is also Tibetan. I'm trying to see if we still have any of the Han back. Bai, no, they are a Mongolic group. Malho, Jia, not seeing any. Oh, there's Ganju. They're much smaller now. They are Han, but very, very tiny and basically insignificant. Kocho is still hanging on for dear lives. Etchu is somehow still there. But the big one is here in Borjigin. And this Borjigin clan is, of course, the clan of Temujin, the clan of Genghis Khan. And they formed around 1230. And Borjigin really controlled all the way into here and all of this. And then you could see, you know, he passed away. If we look over here, who do we have? We can go through their parents. Here's Temujin, Kagan, Temujin, or, you know, Genghis Khan. If we look at his children, they had Kagan Yochi, Chagatai, Ogodai, All the ones that we know from history were around there, but it did happen. Genghis Khan came out and just steamrolled everybody here. We've got a Bashkir Khabarite Jewish Mughalid Khanate kingdom sitting up here in this Siberian area. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Oh, we have a Turumic Siberian faith, Ostiak, so ergo Permian group. Small duchy here, Duchess Zochava of Konda, who is a giant and a treacherous villain. So we've got Ostiaks here, Tengri faith. So, I mean, it has become really, 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 really interesting here. Speed this up a little bit and hit unpause as we continue on towards the year 1400 and the eventual end of this time lapse. I hope you're enjoying it. If you are, please don't forget to hit that like button. Oh boy, we're almost at the end. It is now the 7th of January, 1400 AD. And I need to apologize a little bit. I've actually recorded this episode over numerous days. Just had stuff going on, and I am battling quite the cold plus allergies. So I apologize if my voice kind of fades a little bit over the course of this episode. But anyway, I hope you're enjoying it. If you do, think about hitting that like button. So, as you can tell right away, the Borjigins have fallen apart in the last century. The Chagatai Khanate, as well as the Golden Horde, did appear. Actually, it was split. The Borjigins were split in half between the Chaganate, or the Chagatai, and the Golden Horde. And within about a decade, they also completely fell to pieces. So as you can see, it's just total chaos here. It's total chaos down in India. It's total chaos over here. I mean, there's really a lot of chaos, but if there's one area that we can agree on that has been powerful, strong, as well as resilient throughout this time lapse, well, it's been Iceland. I mean, let's go check out Iceland here. 108 years later, it is now Ilfing Tórshavn, and you can see there are like a ton of different houses in here. King Askar is the king of Iceland. They also have all of these islands up here. Very, very cool. All right. As always, we start in Iberia, and the Umayyads are dealing with a few internal wars. Emir Budwin of Flanders, the Emir of Flanders, is revolting here. But as you can see, the Umayyads, their power extends from North Africa through Iberia, France, the Low Countries, and into the heart of England. It's really been crazy. The only other ones that I would say are kind of interesting is, the Sultanate of Ali, which is kind of spread out throughout this area here, very, very disjointed. Aslamids are still here, Otsko is still here, but as you can see, of course, the Byzantines have been kicked out. The Umayyads also now control most of Sardinia as well. If we look here, Bigorre, they are Basque. Then we've got these Mualadi Occitanians here. Then the French Mualadis in Laval, so Burgundy. The Kingdom of Burgundy, very strong here. Nuestria. And then we have Lotharingia. But yeah, it is all firmly in the hands of Islam. It's so fascinating to see that happen. Frisia, still Dutch Orthodox. The Bronkhorst family, which has Karling lineage in it, controls basically Germany, most of Central Europe here. We go to the British Isles. England is still a thing, but very disjointed, and they are Welsh. Ireland, interesting enough, are Polish. So it's King Vyacheslav of House Wessex, as one would expect. Then you've got the Irish in Munster. Lodane are Gaelic. And then, of course, you have the Mualadi French of Nuestria, as well as the Andalusian Mualadi Umayyads, controlling the central part of England, and Wales still being Welsh, which is interesting or good to see. They've been hanging on, as have the Irish. But if you think about it, pretty much all of England is controlled by by Islamic rulers, something I did not expect to happen. All right, Scandinavia. Norway is still hanging on, even though they are now Greek Orthodox, as one would expect. The Swedes are still here. They are Swedish Orthodox, and the Danish are Danish and Nordic Christian faith. The Sapmi have a very large kingdom of basically all of northern Finland, Sweden, and Norway. Bjarmaland, Swedish and Nordic Christian. Karelia's Christian. Holmgarder is, yep. And Estland, so Estonia, Estland, Swedish and Nordic Christian. So it looks like the Jewish faith has been pushed out of this region. We now have Greek Orthodox here in Ruthenia. Poland is Catholic. Then we have Pinsk, not Minsk, Russian Orthodox. Masuria in here, Swedish and Nordic Christian. Melania, Polabian and Catholic. Greater Moravia, still around after all these years. Somogoy also still a thing, Somogi. Then, of course, we do have the papacy back in, this is Pope Zosimus II, back in Italian hands. And we've got Ruthenia, believe it or not, right here. But the Byzantines are, Croatia. Croatia's right here, Bosnian Orthodox, Masnovic family. But the Byzantines are still the dominant force in this entire region here. They control southern Germany, pretty much all of Italy, most of the Balkans, most of this part of Eastern Europe, all the Black Sea, and all the Caspian Sea now, aside from this little bit here held by some Oghuz Turks. If we move now down, this here, Abadan is still a thing. Baghdadid is also still here. We can see they control the Abadans, and the Baghdadids are kind of splitting up Persia as well. Now, we do have some Persians here, but for the most part, they don't have a singular control. Faru is probably the closest you have, but they are Tajik. Punjabis, Afghan Punjabis, controlling this here, and Rajputana also still over here. Now, as we head to Africa, we have the Akabids, the Bedouins, controlling Egypt, basically, and the Hafsids up here. Greek Mualadis, as one would have. Nubians control Nubia. They are Adamite Christian Nubians. The Abadans have now moved into basically Ethiopia. Ajuran is still a thing. You can see Islam is controlling most of this area here. There are still a few Coptic enclaves, Damot being the biggest one, Nubia being the other major Christian country around there. If it's not Ali or Umayyad, it is Tin Malalid, controlling this part of North Africa. Then you've got the Mustafids. Venice still hanging on. So the Venetians, who is now a kingdom, the Kingdom of Venice, is no longer a republic, controlling still this part of basically Tunisia, but no other Christians in this part of Africa. As we move further down, we can see Islam is still moving further down here, but they are still all holding onto the Mande faith. Mali is still a thing. They've got a ton of internal wars they're dealing with right now. Wooly over here. Kong, Ibadi, Muslim faith. Gur, Gurma, Tibesti as well here. Hausaland, they have now converted to Ashari Islam. Kanem, Ibadi Islam. So we're seeing the indigenous religions of this part of Africa. It's really just this house that Mali and Ghana are part of that are still holding on to that. Now let's move over to Asia. And things get super, super messy as we get into the into South Asia. Pertalid Raj in Tamil hands. Then we've got, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. They've got control here. The Tripurids are in control here. No more Bengal. Bengal has fallen apart. And then we've got the Pushkaranadipid Kingdom controlling all of Burma. The Siddhis, the Bengalis, are here controlling the northern part of India. And then the Ramachandrid Kingdom controlling the rest. And then there are a lot of petty kingdoms here as well. As we move into the Tibetan area, Nepalis still have their place. Yarlung is now under the control of a Han dynasty. Amdo is Sumpa Kam. They are Tibetan. Rutog, they are Tibetan by Bapta Jia or Uyghur, so that's Turkic, of course. So really Han, we only have this one left here. Kocho is still a thing. They're still hanging on, man. They're still around. Zetishu under the Karakanid dynasty, still a thing. Lushan is here. I'm trying to see if there are any more Karakanids, but that seems to be the only one. And then, of course, we get into the Khabarite Jewish Mongols of Salair. Harlut as well. Looks like this is where the Jewish religion is the strongest on the map. Most of these being Jewish. Permia as well. Tolkish, not anymore. And there we get a little bit of Islam moving in here. And then as far as the heartland of Mongolia, we've got Altai here. Just trying to see if there's anything that really jumps out. Not too much, a lot of Tengri faith here, a lot of Mongols. But really this is where everything kind of fell apart. This is interesting. We've got the Beglukids who were actually at one point all the way over here have now gone here into basically Mongolia. So that's the world we have right now. I'm going to hit unpause. Bear with me. In 1400, and we've got 53 years left in game, and I'm curious to see what those final 53 years look like here on Crusader Kings 3. And here we are, the 31st of December, 1453. Now, even though I set the end date to be 1453, it will actually continue past this, but I decided we're going to end it on the 31st of December, 1453. As you can see, probably Constantinople did not fall. not even close. But things are interesting overall. What we're going to do here now at the end, obviously we're going to take a look at the map overall, some of the major empires, some general thoughts. And I'm going to look at, religion and culture. And we're going to look at the religion map here real quick. So as we can see, Ash'ari Islam is right here. Then we've got the Manichaeanism, whatever you want to call it. Tengri is still very strong up here. The Khabarite Jewish faith is a little sprinkled here and there. There's a little bit still right here, but overall, the Jewish faith really didn't sustain its initial growth. Islam is super powerful. You can see it goes all the way through most of this region. You still have a little bit of Christianity left here, a little bit of Orthodoxy, a little bit of conversion going on here, but a lot of Ibadi faith. You still have some original, African religions sitting in right here, but for the most part, Islam dominates the map. Islam and Orthodoxy. Catholicism is very small here. Nordic Christianity, very strong in the north, even though Orthodoxy has clearly made inroads everywhere. Then you have your insular Christianity here, but look at basically all of England, for the most part, is Islamic, which is probably one of the biggest interesting things I've seen here. We've got Catholicism here. You got a little bit of Catholicism in North Africa and Tunisia. But it's hard to say what's more dominant, Islam or Christianity. I mean, if you take this whole blob here is Christianity and a few little pockets here, then you've got a little Hinduism, a little Buddhism over here, and then Tengri faith, Jewish faith. But overall, I would say the dominant faith is Islam as a complete entity over Christianity, and obviously any of the other ones. If we look culturally, who stands out? Greek, obviously huge. Khazar culture, still very big. Oghuz Turk culture is strong there. The Tajiks, Persian, very, very strong. Tamils, strong down here. Hindustani, Bengali is very strong. All the different Mongolian religions cultures are strong here. Kyrgyz, Sami, Swedish is a dominant one here. Polish, Saxon, Franconian, Bavarian. Obviously, German doesn't exist in the 867 start, not really. Croatian a little bit there, but Greek is really the strong one. Buter, Andalusian, French, Irish are very strong. I'd say here it's really hard to say to go beyond. I mean, obviously, a lot of this is just not usable land. I would say Greek is the dominant culture. I mean, you've got pockets all over the place. So we're gonna go with Greek right there. Houses, anything here? Well, you've got the Lacanadrakon here, the Umayyads, the Laval, very strong here, but obviously that kind of follows the realms. So let's take a look, of course. I'm going to start up here in Iceland. Iceland is still Iceland, and Fitzek, House of Fitzek, is back in control of Iceland. As we go down here, we can see the Umayyads are just... They are the powerhouse throughout this area, controlling big swaths of England, France, most of Iberia, North Africa, and southern Italy. Reconquered southern Italy from the Byzantines. House Ali is a little spread out here and there. The Burgundians, French Mualadis, House Laval, very powerful. You can see it's now stretching throughout Germany. Frisians, they're still Dutch Orthodox. Umayyads here, Neustria here. If we go over to the British Isles, you can see that Dira is Anglo-Saxon Mualadi. But the Irish, so Alba is Irish, and then Ireland itself is back to Irish. Remember, it was Polish in the previous stop. It is now back in Irish hands, and they are in strong control. Heading up to Scandinavia, the Danish and Swedish courts. Denmark really held on well throughout this game. They had huge territorial gains that they have pretty much lost for the most part. Sweden came back strong. Pinsk is an interesting one that kind of spread throughout. Norway being on the board is nice. Greek Orthodox Norway. The Samis with their big kingdom up in the north. Bjarmalund here, of course. Bavarian Bjarmalund, as one would have. Udalrichanga are in power there. Ireland is really one that impressed me in this time-lapse. Obviously, the Umayyads, the Burgundians, Frisians, who started out here and then kind of expanded. Byzantines, as expected, they are just all conquering and powerful and stayed Greek Orthodox throughout. And they also have lands now in North Africa. They've conquered Egypt here just before the end. Ruthenia, I'm trying to see if there's anything that stands out here. Khazaria, and then we've got Permia, which is probably the most powerful Jewish realm, I would say, is Permia by far. You've got a few other here. You've got, Jewish Kyrgyzians, but for the most part, Permia is probably the most powerful realm that is Jewish, 10,000 strong. The Byzantines have 110,000 troops. How much do the Umayyads have? 126. That'd be an interesting throwdown war here between the Byzantines and the Umayyads for ultimate control. Could be an interesting one to kind of pick up the save here in 1453 and see what happens. Just that big war. Baghdadids, they at the end of the day, they won for control here. You can see they have Abbasid lineage in their house, massively in debt. How are they looking for? They've got 13,000 gold. They're minus 4,800. I mean, they're in massive debt. So they're probably, they're winning some wars against the Punjabis. Interesting. Persia never formed, which is kind of interesting to see that. We can see, again, Islam really took back all of this. Even Alodia is Islamic. Do we have anybody here who is not Islamic? We've got some Nubian Orthodox realms. We don't really have any Coptic realms back here. Nubia is Adamantite Christian. Darfur is Adamantite Christian. Kanem, this is all Islamic. Kanem is huge realm. Igbo, Benue, big. Kong came back strong. Wuli, super strong. Mali still on the board. It's great to see Mali on the board. It's interesting that Ghana actually collapsed and never, ever reformed. We head over here to South Asia. The Punjabis are the dominant force in the region. No doubt about that. The Afghan house of Pugyal. We've got some Kumaris here. Pala came back now, reformed as a realm, as a kingdom here. There's a huge war coming down here. It's a shame that Chola never really went anywhere, but they are in a relatively weak state in the 867 start versus 1066. Here, the Han in Duke Zhenshi of Yarlung of House Mi Han are there. That's great. Love seeing the Han. Yeah, I have this weird obsession with bringing back the Han, and that's actually, oh, Kashmiri realm here, nice. It's actually something I thought about, starting in 867 and doing kind of a created ruler and calling it like the last Han, and trying to rebuild a Han dynasty in this area of Asia, knowing that eventually you're going to have to deal with Genghis Khan and his descendants. Could be really, really interesting. Lushan, very powerful here. Kocho hung on throughout the game. Trying to see here, you know, the former Zetsu, which was here until the end, just before, finally did fall apart. But there are a few that stayed around. Kocho is probably the one that surprises me in this region that did survive and somehow came back. That the Abbasids somehow, through multiple reformations, hung on. Is great to see that Khanim formed, Kong coming back. That Ghana fell apart, a little bit surprising. The Byzantines being super powerful, not surprised by that at all. Great to see the Danish hang on, and the Irish did so well. And the most interesting thing for me is just the spread of Islam throughout Europe. So let me know what you guys thought of this. If this is something you would like to see again, starting in 1066, and really seeing the difference, because Border Gore, as you well know, is something I hate, and is obviously a thing here, because the big difference, obviously, if you start in 1066, is we have the HRE. And a significantly weakened Islamic Iberia. That's one of the main things in a weakened Byzantine Empire. Those are some of the major differences. Chola is also much bigger here in this area, and then of course you have the Seljuks, very, very powerful here. So I think 1066 could be an interesting one to do as a time lapse in future as well. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this. If any of these realms would be interesting to try to play even. And don't forget to hit the like button. So until next time, I'm Realm Builder Guy. I will talk to you soon.